everyone, welcome you all to the chemistry class. In the previous class, we had discussed about the chemical properties of acids and bases. Okay, and we have also come to know that acids and bases conducts electricity in aqueous solution because they form ions in aqueous solution. Okay, in this class, we are getting into more detailed explanation of their behavior in water. Okay, and also we are going to study about the pH scale in this class and importance of pH. Okay, let's get started. So in the previous class we have come to know that when acids and bases are dissolved in water they form ions, and also because of those ions they conduct electricity. Okay, here the question arises whether acids produces ions in only water. We have to check this question. Let us study this concept with the help of an activity. Okay, let us perform an activity and let us check whether acids produce ions only in water. Yes, let us check. What you have to do is you have to prepare fresh HCl gas. Okay, take a test tube and in it add sodium chloride and then add sulfuric acid to it. There is a formation of hydrogen chloride gas. Okay, this is a preparation of hydrogen chloride gas. Then what happens when this hydrogen chloride gas is tested with litmus paper? We will come to know about its acidity. Okay, let us perform this activity. Take about 1 gram of sodium chloride in the test tube, then add concentrated sulfuric acid to it. What happens? There is a formation of HCl gas there. Okay, there is a evolution of gas, that is hydrogen chloride. The HCl gas that is formed is passed through this delivery tube and then it is checked with the both dry litmus paper and wet litmus paper. Okay, dry and wet litmus paper separately. Okay, if the environment is moisture in nature, then we have to fix the guard tube containing calcium chloride so that it must absorb the moisture from the environment, as we are checking the acidity of this gas in the dry condition. Okay, and also wet litmus paper is also used in other case. We have to test in both the cases. Okay, then we are observing what's happening, whether the color is changing or not. Okay, what observation do we make here? Here we observe that wet litmus paper has changed its color from blue to red, showing that it is acid. Okay, whereas dry litmus paper has not shown any color change. Why? Because in dry litmus paper there is no dissociation of ions of HCl gas there. HCl has not formed into its respective ions with dry litmus paper. Whereas in case of wet litmus paper, what has happened? The HCl gas that is passed through it in the presence of water, it has dissociated into H plus and Cl minus ions. So this shows that the acidity or the acidic character is due to the formation of H plus ions. And also it shows that not all the compounds that are containing hydrogen will behave as acid. We know that methane contains hydrogen. Yes, methane contain hydrogen. But does it behave like acid? No, not at all, because it will not produce any H plus ions. It is not producing H plus ions, so it is not acidic in nature. So from this experiment we observe that the substance will behave as acid if it produces H plus ions in solution, that is aqueous solution. Okay, so the observation that we have made are dry litmus paper does not show color change. We know that red litmus paper sorry red litmus paper will turn into blue if it is base, and blue litmus paper will turn into red if it is acid. Okay, whereas wet litmus paper showed the color change from blue to red. Okay, we have taken here one blue litmus paper that is dry, another one is wet blue litmus paper. Okay, from blue to red. This shows that is acidic in nature. That gas which has produced ions in the presence of water is acidic in nature. Okay, dry HCl gas will not show acidic character because of absence of H plus ions. Once it in the presence of water it produces the ions, then it will behave as acid. Okay, this is the inference that we can draw from this activity. Okay, so we have come to know that in the presence of water it forms H plus ions and chloride ions. Can you observe what is this? These are hydronium ions. Means this is a hydronium ion. How it is formed? We know that in aqueous solution H plus ions are produced from HCl, hydrochloric acid, but these H plus ions are not stable, so they always combine with H2O to form hydronium ions. Okay, they always exist in the form of H3O plus, that is hydronium ion. This you should remember. How how in the acids hydrogen ions are present? They are present in the form of hydronium ions. More the concentration of hydronium ions, more is the acidic nature of a solution. Okay, this you have to remember. Always H plus ions are present in the form of hydronium ions. So they are always indicated by either H plus aqueous or H3O. So they are always indicated as H plus aqueous or H3O plus, that is hydronium ions. Okay. In the same way, what happens when bases are dissolved in water? The bases which are soluble in water like NaOH, when it is dissolved in water, what happens? They form Na plus and OH minus ions. Okay. The basic property is due to the presence of these OH minus ions. Okay, the acidic property is due to H plus ions and basic property is due to the hydroxide ions. And also here we are talking about those bases which are soluble in water. As we know that sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, they are soluble in water. So we will represent it as aqueous. Okay. So here we are talking about those bases which are soluble in water. What they are called as? They are called as alkalis. Okay. There are bases which are not soluble in water. Okay. They are simply called bases, but those bases which are soluble in water, they form hydroxide ions. Okay. We will come across still detailed explanation or broader concepts of acid, sign, bases in your higher class. For now, you should remember that bases are those substances which after reaction with acids yield salt and water, and they will produce hydroxide ions in water. And it is true that still there are many bases which are not soluble in water, but they have basic properties. We will come across it in the higher classes. Okay. So the bases which are soluble in water are called alkalis. So once we are talking about the solution of bases in aqueous in water, then we must understand that we are talking about the alkalis here. Okay. These both are alkalis. Sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, both are alkalis. Okay. Now we have understood that H plus are produced by acids and OH minus are produced by bases will result in the formation of water. Yes, we have studied in the neutralization reaction that acids and bases react with each other to form salt and water. Where does that water come from? It is due to the hydrogen cation from acid and hydroxide anion from base. Okay, this has resulted in the formation of water here. Okay. So now we have come to know that acids will produce ions only in the solution, and the acidic property is due to the presence of those H plus ions. Okay. Not all the compounds which are having hydrogen in it behave as acids. Only those substances which produce H plus ions in water will behave as acids. Okay. Because of which in the previous experiment also we have come to know that why the glucose solution was not conducting electricity, because there was no formation of ions. Okay. Our next concept is about the dilution of acids and bases. What do you mean by dilution? When you add water to the base or acid, then it will be get diluted. The concentration of water in the solution will increases. Okay. Let us study about the dilution concept now. Mixing of, or the process of dissolving acid or base in water is called as dilution. Okay. When you add acid or base to the water, when you mix them, what happens? The process is highly exothermic. A lot amount of heat is released during the process. Okay. Always care must be taken while diluting a base or acid, because of which in your laboratories you might have seen that a warning symbol is displayed on the cans of acids and bases. Okay. The process of dilution is highly exothermic. Lot amount of heat is released. Okay. So always care must be taken, and the most important thing is you must always add acid or base slowly to the water. You should never add water directly to the acid or base solution. If you add water to the concentrated acid or base solution, what happens? All of a sudden the temperature will rise. Lot amount of heat is liberated, which causes the mixture to splash out, and it may cause damage to our skin also. Sometimes the heat liberated is so much that it will cause the breaking of the container in which the acid or base was taken. Okay, always care must be taken while diluting the acid or base. Okay, always an acid or base is added slowly to the water. You should never add water to concentrated acid or base. Okay, with constant stirring. You should add it in very small amounts. You should add acid or base in very small amount to the water, and you should always keep stirring it continuously. Okay, so that the heat liberated will not cause the mixture to splash out. Water is a good absorber of heat. What is the difference if you add acid or base to the water or water to acid or base? What happens is, if you add acid or base to water, then also it is exothermic one. Yes, it is true that it is exothermic, but the heat liberated is absorbed by the water. It will not cause the sudden rise of temperature, and it will not cause the splashing out of the mixture. Okay, it is a good absorber of heat. Whereas what happens if you add water to the concentrated acid or base, then acid or base starts dissociating it into ions, into their respective ions. Then suddenly the temperature rises, and there is no water to absorb that heat. It will suddenly splashes out, and also sometimes the breakage of the container may also happen. Okay, with constant stirring. Never add water to concentrated acid or base. Okay. Even in your laboratories, what you have to do, if you want to dilute the acidic or basic solution, then you have to take the beaker. In it, you should take the water. Then you should start adding acid in a very smaller quantities, and then you should stir the mixture. Okay. What happens to the mixture after dilution? Is there any change in the mixture? Yes. Once you add water to the solution of a base or acid, that is, if you add acid or base to the water, what happens? There is a decrease in the concentration of H plus ions or hydronium ions in case of acid, or hydroxide ions in case of base. Okay, mixing of acid or base with water will result in decreasing the concentration of hydronium ions or hydroxide ions in case of base per unit volume. This process is called as dilution. Okay, what happens when the acids or bases are diluted? Why does this result in the formation of decreasing the concentration of hydroxide ions and hydronium ions? Because let us see with the help of example here. Suppose if you have taken a container containing acid, suppose it consists of 1 liter of acid. Let us take an example for your understanding purpose. Okay, again what I will do is I will add water to it. Okay, in practical we are adding acid to water, but for your understanding purpose, let us take that we are diluting it. Okay, here assume that there are 100 molecules. Okay, there will be millions of molecules in it. For your understanding purpose, imagine that there are 100 molecules of acids here, just for imagination purpose. Okay, if I add 1 more liter of water to it, what happens? It gets diluted. Yes or not? If I add 1 more liter to it, then what happens? The overall volume of the solutions become 2 liters. Okay, we are not adding here acid. The amount of acid is same. What I am doing is I am diluting the mixture by simply adding water to it. Initially what was the case? Initially there were 100 molecules of acids per 1 liter of acids. Okay, now what is the case? After adding 1 more liter of water to it, there are still 100 molecules. Yes, we have not changed the molecules of acid. The amount of acid taken in the container is same, but now there are 100 molecules per 2 liter of the acid. The amount of whole solution has changed now. This means that if there are 100 molecules per 2 liter of acid, it means that there are 50 molecules. If I convert it for per unit volume, then it means 50 molecules per liter, means for 1 liter. Our definition is that dilution results in the decrease in the concentration of ions per unit volume. Okay. Initially, there were 100 molecules per 1 liter. Now, after diluting, what has happened? They have spread all over the solution. These molecules of acids or ions of acids, yes, it is true that they are present in the form of ions here. Let us take hydronium ions. These are all hydronium ions. And also, we have chloride ions also in it, as acid consists of both H plus and Cl minus in case of hydrochloric acid. Yes, but we are concentrating here upon H plus ions or hydronium ions because our acidity or acidic character is due to the H plus ions. Okay. Now we have got that there are 50 molecules or 50 hydronium ions per liter. This has resulted in the decrease in concentration of ions per unit volume. Initially there were 100 H3O plus. Do not take it as molecules, take it as ions, because always it is, as it is a strong acid, they are present in the form of ions. Okay, take it as. Now we have got that there is a decrease in the concentration of hydronium ions to 50 hydronium ions per liter. So always remember, dilution results in the decrease in concentration of ions per unit volume. Okay. As this is a strong acid, what acid that we have taken is HCl. As it is strong acid, it will dissociate completely to form H plus and Cl minus. Okay, if I have put 100 molecules in it, all the molecules have dissociated into hydronium ions and chloride ions. Okay, because of which now I have got that dilution results in the decrease in concentration of hydronium ions in case of acid, and in case of base it will result in the decrease in concentration of hydroxide ions there. Okay, next let us solve some questions here. It is given in your in-text question also. How is the concentration of hydronium ions affected when a solution of an acid is diluted? Right now we have discussed about it. Okay, we have taken a solution of an acid, we are diluting it. How do we dilute it? By adding water to it. The amount of acid is same in the solution, but we are adding water to it. This results in the dilution. Okay. What happens there? When the acid solution is diluted, it will cause decrease in the concentration of hydronium ions per unit volume. So your answer is the concentration of, this is a very important concept you should remember. Okay, you will come across the concentration terms in detail in your higher classes also. Okay, the concentration of hydronium ions per unit volume decreases when the solution of an acid is diluted. When the, you might have seen in your home also, if you prepare lemonade, lemon juice using lemon and sugar and water, what happens? You have prepared a perfect lemonade from it. What happens if you add some water to it? Is there any change in the taste? Yes, of course, you feel the change in the taste as the quantity of sugar is being reduced. Actually, the quantity of sugar is not reduced, as the lemonade that you had prepared is diluted. Okay, the concentration of sugar per unit volume decreases, because of which you will feel that the concentration of sugar is reduced there. Okay, this is same what happens here. Upon dilution, the concentration of hydronium ions, this is very important, the concentration of hydronium ions per unit volume decreases when the solution of an acid is diluted. Okay, then next question. How is the concentration of hydroxide ions affected when excess base is dissolved in it? Okay, we have the solution of base here. Now what we are doing is, when excess base is dissolved in it, we have the same solution. Again, I am adding base to it, to the same solution. What happens there? Still more hydroxide ions are produced. Okay, this results in the increase in the concentration of hydroxide ions. Okay, so when excess of base is dissolved in it, so when excess of base is dissolved in the solution, the concentration of hydroxide ions increases. Okay, have you understood about the concept of dilution? You should remember this concept. Okay, this is very important actually. So now we will discuss about the strength of acids and bases. Okay, we know that the strength of acids and bases, it depends on the concentration of H plus ions and OH minus ions, that is hydroxide ions and hydronium ions amount. Okay, so we have qualitatively determined whether a given substance is acid or base by using the indicators. Okay, we have come across many indicators like phenolphthalein, methyl orange, Shinarose, etc. We have determined the acidic or basic character by using them. But now, in order to understand the strength of these acids, okay, how strong is an acid, how strong is a base, we have to determine it. So for that, we will use the indicator called as universal indicator. So by using this universal indicator, we will find the amount of the ions, that is hydronium ions or H plus ions in water and hydroxide ions. The more the amount of these ions, the more is the acidic or basic character. Okay, what is this universal indicator? Actually, this is a mixture of several indicators. Okay, if you take a single indicator, then it will show the range over a very small scale. But if you take the universal indicator, it will cover a very large numbers. Okay, from very weak acids to very strong bases also. Okay, because of which we will use a universal indicator. It is actually a mixture of several indicators and it shows different colors at different concentration of hydrogen ions. By using this indicator, we will come to know how strong is the acid, and it is always convenient to measure the acidity of a substance in terms of its hydrogen ion concentration. Okay, the more the concentration of hydrogen ions, the more acidic is the substance. The very less the concentration of hydrogen ions, it is not that much acidic. And same with the hydroxide ions also. Okay, more the amount of hydroxide ions, the more basic will be the substance. Okay, so for this we have to quantitatively measure its strength. So a pH scale was developed for measuring the hydrogen ion concentration in a solution. This scale runs from 0 to 14. Okay, this is a scale. We have to quantitatively determine the strength of acid or bases. Okay, for this we must have some scale, which if I give a solution of acid A and tell you to determine its acidity, then what I need to do, I have to compare it with the help of pH scale. Okay, let me show you how it looks. This scale runs from 0. The values of very less quantity means if the value of a solution, that is pH value, is very less, it shows the acidic character, and if it is very large, then it shows a basic character. Okay, let me show you. Okay, see here, this is a pH scale. As you move from 0 to 7, this covers the acidic nature of the substance. If the pH value of a substance is in between 0 to 7, if the pH value of the solution is between, if the pH value of a solution is between 0 to 7, then it is acidic. 0 to 7 means 0 to 6.9 something. If the pH value is exactly 7, then it is neutral in nature. The given substance is neutral. Okay, again, if the pH value is in between 7.1 to 14, then it is basic in nature. These values you have to remember. If the pH value is from 0 to 7, then it is acidic. If it is in between 7 to 14, then it is basic solution. If it is exactly 7, then the given solution is neutral in nature. Okay, I say a two solution A and B, the pH of the solution A is 5 and the pH of the solution B is 2. Which one is more acidic? This B solution is more acidic. Why? Because the lesser the value of pH, the more acidic it will be. The solution B will be more acidic. You can see here, as the numbers decreases here, the acidic character increases, and pH value, it has not any unit, it is just a number. Okay, then if I say the two solution A and B, and the pH of the solution A is 7.5, and pH of the solution B is 13, then if I ask you which one is more basic, then your answer will be the solution B is more basic. because as the value of pH increases, the basicity of the also increases. Okay, then you can see here some of the pH values of the substances like gastric juice, lemon juice, pure water, milk of magnesia, sodium hydroxide. How can you find out the pH value? You have to take the universal indicator strip. Okay, then you have to dip it in the solution whose pH value is to be tested. Suppose if I take lemon juice, okay, I don't know it is a lemon juice, I don't know its pH value. What I will do, I will dip the pH indicator, that is strip of the pH universal indicator. Then I will come to know that the color change is to this orange. Then I will compare it with this pH value, okay, scale. So now I will realize that the pH of the given solution is 2. Okay, understand? And again, if I take milk of magnesia or sodium hydroxide solution, okay, in a beaker, then I will dip the universal indicator in it. Then I will observe the color change. Okay, the color change will be dark blue, something like this. Then I will compare it with this values. Then it comes out to be 14. In this way, I will measure the pH values. This is why universal indicator is very important. If you use a single indicator like phenolphthalein, it will work over a very small range. Okay, it will not cover this broad range. This pH values will cover almost all the substances. Okay, right from gastric juice to sodium hydroxide, which is very basic in nature, it will cover almost all the substances as it is a mixture of indicators. It will show different color changes at different concentrations. Okay, this is all about the pH value and universal indicator. So now we are going to study about the importance of pH. So far we have understood that pH scale is used to determine the values that is related to acidity or basicity of a substance. Now we are going to understand what is the importance of studying this pH. What is the importance to know about the pH? Yes, let us start. The most important thing is all the living organisms work under a narrow range of pH. Okay, the whatever the metabolic activities that are undergoing in our body, that are taking place in our body, is in a specific range of pH. Okay, first of all we need to understand that all living organisms are pH sensitive. Okay, means the metabolic activities that are taking place in our body will be carried out in a specific narrow range of pH. Not only human beings, all the living organisms including plants and animals, they are pH sensitive. Okay, and our human body works in the narrow range of pH, that is 7 to 7.8. Our body works in the pH range of 7 to 7.8. So it needs to be maintained in balance. Okay, if the values largely deviate from these values, then the person will be affected with many diseases. Okay, then what about pH of rainwater? Okay, we know that rainwater, when it becomes acidic, if the pH of the rainwater decreases, then it will cause harmful, or it will be harmful to the aquatic animals or aquatic plants. How does the pH of the rainwater decreases? We know that the many non-metallic oxides like SO2, CO2, when they are dissolved in water, when the concentration of these gases increases in air, they dissolve in water, that is rainwater, to form their respective oxides. For example, carbon dioxide forms carbonic acid, nitrogen dioxide, it may form nitric acid. In this way, when these dissolve in water, they form their respective acids. Okay, this causes the rainwater to become acidic. The pH of the rainwater will decreases. When the pH of this rainwater decreases, what happens? It will affect the aquatic life and aquatic plants also, and the same rainwater that will be used for agricultural purposes, then also the crops that are harvested or the crops that are grown will also be affected. Okay, so if the pH of rainwater is less than 5.6, less than 5.6, it is called as acid rain. Okay, it is called. So when the pollution in the air increases, the gases like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide will increase in the amount in the air. So when they get dissolved in water, they form acid rain. Okay, it is very important to maintain the pH of this rainwater. It must not go below this value, okay, which affects aquatic life. And also that same water which is supplied for agricultural purposes, it is also affecting the agricultural land, okay. Then what about pH of soil? We should know that our soil has a particular pH value, and the crops that needs the particular value of pH is to be maintained, okay. Different crops require different pH of the soil, okay. Some crops require some particular range of pH, some other crops require some particular range of pH, okay. So the pH of soil needs to be maintained, and the dissolving of minerals or nutrients in the soil also depends on the pH value. And one more thing, the microorganisms, that is the good microorganisms that are required for the healthy growth of plants, also depends on the pH of the soil. So what we need to do is, if I am growing some crops in our agricultural land, then I need to send the sample of the soil to the agricultural office, where or laboratory, where it is find out that is pH. Then if the soil founds to be too acidic, okay, if it is more acidic than the required amount, then I need to neutralize it with the base by adding the bases like calcium hydroxide or limestone. Then it will decreases the acidity of the soil. Now you are going to understand where we are practically applying the pH values, okay. So if the soil seems to be more basic in nature, then we will add some organic matter into it in order to decrease the basic nature of the soil. So all crops will work, means will grow in a particular range of pH of the soil. So we need to test the pH of the soil before growing the crop, okay. The crops or any plants require specific pH range for soil. If the soil is too acidic, if the soil is too acidic, then also the growth of the plant will be deteriorated, okay. Too acidic, the growth of the plant will be decreased, okay. Too acidic, then add limestone or calcium hydroxide, which decrease the acidity of the soil. Or if the soil is too basic, then add organic matter into it to decrease basicity, okay. Because it is very important, okay. Maintaining the agricultural land and maintaining the pH of the soil plays a very important role for agricultural and growth of crops and plants. Now you have understood, if it is too acidic, then add limestone or calcium hydroxide to it, or if it is too basic, then you can add organic matter to decrease the basicity, okay. Next, there is one interesting mechanism that takes place in our body, okay. Our stomach produces gastric juice, okay, for digestion. That gastric juice has hydrochloric acid. Yes, gastric juice, it consists of hydrochloric acid, but it will not harm our stomach. Hydrochloric acid, it is helpful for digestion of the food, okay. And also, when digestion takes place, there is a requirement of digestive enzymes there. Those enzymes are active in the presence of this acid. When this acid is present in our stomach and the pH of the stomach is maintained properly, then those enzymes will work. If there is indigestion, there is a production of excess gastric juice or excess hydrochloric acid in our stomach. It causes pain and irritation in our stomach. You might have felt also, okay, you might have experienced during indigestion. What happens, there is a burning sensation, or there is some irritation that's happening in your stomach. It is due to the excess hydrochloric acid, okay. If there is excess hydrochloric acid in stomach, it causes pain and irritation in the stomach, okay. Then what we need to do, we have studied about the neutralization reaction, okay. Let us apply this neutralization reaction in this concept, okay. We know that bases will nullify the effect of acids and acid will nullify the effect of base. Now if I am suffering from indigestion and my stomach is producing excess hydrochloric acid, then I need to decrease the effect of this hydrochloric acid. How can I do it? By adding base into my stomach. I cannot add any kind of base, means I cannot add randomly any base like sodium hydroxide, as they are corrosive in nature. So only mild bases like to treat acidity, mild bases like milk of magnesium. That is what antacids consists of. Antacid means it decreases the acidity in our stomach. Okay, mild bases like milk of magnesia, that is magnesium hydroxide, is taken. That is antacid must be taken which has mild bases like milk of magnesia. It will neutralize the excess acid present in our stomach. So this gastric juice is very important for digestion, that is the hydrochloric acid, where the enzyme will work properly. And if there is excess production of this hydrochloric acid in our stomach, it causes pain and irritation. But in order to treat this acidity, this is called as acidity, we will take mild bases like milk of magnesia as antacid. Okay, this is all about pH in our digestive system. Okay, see, we are applying the pH concept in our daily life, so it is very important to know about the pH. Okay, then pH change as a cause of tooth decay. Okay, you people, almost all of you might have experienced the tooth decay. Why does it happens? It is due to the excess acid in our mouth. Why does this happen? Why does acidity of our mouth increases? Yes, I will explain. What happens? We will eat food or sugar, and the what happens is, when we eat food and other sugar materials or sugary foods, there is a breakage of these food or sugar by the bacteria present in our mouth. Okay, the food we eat or sugar substances or sugary substances that we consume, when they are stuck in the mouth, when they are stuck in the mouth, they are degraded by the bacteria. Okay, they are degraded by bacteria present in our mouth. Okay, while doing so, they release acids. Okay, by releasing acids in our mouth. When the pH of mouth goes below 5.5, it causes tooth decay. Okay, the tooth is said to be corroded. Actually, the tooth enamel is made up of a very strong substance, that is calcium phosphate. Calcium phosphate. What happens once the bacteria releases acids into our mouth, it will get corroded. Okay, the tooth enamel gets corroded and it will causes tooth decay when pH of the mouth decreases below 5.5. Okay, when pH of mouth is less than 5.5, this is how the tooth decay happens. Then what is the remedy? Then we need to wash our mouth properly after eating anything. Okay, this is all caused due to the particles that has been stuck in our mouth, and those particles have been decomposed or degraded by the bacteria present in our mouth by releasing the acids there. Okay, so what happens after eating any meal? We have to clean our mouth properly, and also using the toothpaste that is basic in nature also helps to decrease the acidity in our mouth. Okay, to treat or to prevent tooth decay, wash mouth properly after every meal. Okay, and also use toothpaste that is basic in nature. Use toothpaste that has mild bases. Okay, it will help to decrease the acidity of the mouth. Okay, you have understood about the cause of tooth decay. When we eat the food or sugary substances, they are stuck in the mouth, they are degraded by the bacteria present in our mouth by releasing the acids. Okay, when these release the acids, the tooth get corroded, so that the pH of the mouth is less than 5.5. This causes the tooth decay. In order to prevent the tooth decay, we need to wash our mouth properly after eating every meal, and also we should use the toothpaste that has mild base. Okay, next, there is an interesting defense mechanism that takes place in plants and animals. Every plant or every organism on this earth try to protect themselves. Okay, when the animals like bees or ants, when they bite any other organism or human beings, what happens? They release some acids on our skin. Okay, because of which we will be feeling the pain and irritation or burning sensation. Why do they do so? Because they try to protect themselves. Okay, when they are attacked by the predators, Like human beings, if you go on touching them, what they think, in order to protect themselves, they will release acids by biting on our skin. Okay, bees and ants bite, they release acids on our on skin. Usually bee sting consists of acid, that is methanoic acid. So just after biting on our skin, what happens, we will feel the irritation and burning sensation on us. Okay, so what we need to do is we have to rub that area with the help of baking soda, which is a base. We know that methanoic acid is acid. Because of that acid, we are feeling the pain and irritation. What happens, in order to prevent that, in order to get relief, we have to rub the stung area with baking soda, so that this baking soda neutralizes the acid that is injected on our skin by bees or ants. Okay, this is a self defense by animals. What they have done, in order to get protected themselves from the predators, they will release acid, so we will move away from them. And these acids irritates us, means they irritate our skin. So in order to get relief from them, we have to rub the stung area with baking soda. Okay, then what about defense mechanism that is seen in plants? Have you seen the nettle leaves? It is a kind of plant. Nettle plants have nettle leaves. Okay, nettle leaves, they have hair like structure on their leaves, have hair like structure on their leaves. Suppose if we touch it unintentionally, what happens, the hair like structure consists of acid. Okay, and because of that acid getting injected on our skin, we will get irritated, and also pain occurs on our skin. So what happens, we need to neutralize that acid. What they have injected, they have injected the acid, that is it consists of methanoic acid. Methanoic acid, again we have to neutralize this acid. And one more interesting thing is, wherever there are nettle plants, in most of the cases there will be nearby the plant named dog plant. Okay, the name of the plant is dog plant. In order to get relief, we have to rub the stung area, or the area which we have get irritated, we have to rub there with the help of the leaves of dog plant. We have to crush those leaves and we have to apply the liquid, that liquid on our skin. It will get relief. Why? Because the dog plant leaves have basic substances in them. Basic they have basic substance, because of which we get relief from the methanoic acid, the burning sensation that is caused by methanoic acid. Okay, have you understood how the pH value plays a very important role in our daily life, that we come across many instances where we have to apply the knowledge of pH value. Okay, by this let us conclude today's session, and in the tomorrow's session we will continue with the next part. Okay.